All right, guys, welcome back into another PGA DFS video. Going to be going over the core plays here for the Valero Texas Open here in 2021. As you guys can see, do have a little bit of a new setup going, so, good stuff here. Actually recently just moved, so going to be having this kind of as a backdrop here. If you guys see this changing here and there, it is what it is, and that's kind of why this video is coming out a little bit later than normal, and some of the videos this week might be coming out a little bit later than normal as well, just because, in the process of moving, actually still little things here and there that I still have to do, but overall, kind of digging it, liking it, a little bit better look here for you guys. Do want to talk about the course preview. Obviously, I couldn't do that on Sunday, was in the process of moving, but just looking at the course preview just real quick, the average winning score here is minus 15 under par, and then the average cut line is 0. So even par for us for the average cut line. So in tournaments, when we see that, play a little bit difficult, I do like to look at bogey points in terms of making the cut, and I also like to look at par 5 scoring in terms of making the cut. I have found that to be the most predictable stats in terms of making the cut. But just looking at it, the players that have went out and played well at a course like this or at this tournament have been we see ball striking, key stat there for that. Then we also see birdie to bogey ratio is definitely the most key scoring stat that we see there at the bottom. Then we're going to be looking at good drives gain. We do like that. Strokes gained approach. We do like that. Obviously, strokes gained tee to green. That's typically going to be up there. Par 5 scoring does hold true there, a little bit more than par 4 scoring relatively. So overall, really kind of looking good there. So this is going to be an interesting one for me this week in terms of key stats. But that's enough with the key stats. We'll just get into the picks here for the Valero Texas Open. All right, so for the first core play, I'm actually going to be talking about Cory Connors here, guys. This guy is popping. He's been playing some great golf recently. He grades out as the 4th best stat that has the average finish over the last 4 years of 13.5. His recent form is right around 30th. Pretty solid. So he's made 3 straight cuts in a row. His lowest stat that we're looking at, I like to group them up in terms of course history, stat rank, and course history. Top 10 in all those, which means he's going to be the 2nd best player in the model this week. Cory Connors, I don't think he's going to be looking ahead, where some of these other players I might talk about might be looking ahead to the Masters a little bit, and that could be the worry with them as a player. I don't see that happening with Cory Connors. We can see that he's had really strong recent form besides that Genesis invite. Other than that, this dude has been electric. So yeah, I really do like him as a pick this week. Then after that, I do want to mention Jordan Spieth here. And, on the cheat sheet here, he's not going to be grading out well. And that's why I went out and made this new sheet on 9 to 5 Sports. And this is how it should be used. I know a lot of content providers, not a lot, some, Fantasy National, if you will, they have this as well. I don't think people really use this the way that they should. You should use it only when a player like Jordan Spieth is not, he's got a high salary. He's been playing well recently. You want to see why probably the model isn't going to be grading out that well for him as it is right now. Recent form rank top 5. So we can see by looking at this, his stats have been improving a ton over the past 3 months, which is what this little scorecard is telling us here. We can see that he has been getting better a lot over the past 3 months. And we can see that. We can also see, we'll just look at it over the past, let's just do 5 weeks. We can see how well he's been playing as well. So over the past 5 weeks, he is top 20 in strokes gained total. And then he's also top 20 in a birdie to bogey ratio, birdie or better percentage, which is great. Could be putting a little bit better, could be a little bit better off the tee, but everywhere else has been great. Strokes gained approach, top 20 in that. Average finish 15th place over that span as well. And that's why I like to use this tool. This is why I'm introducing this tool to the 9 to 5 Sports page, because, we'll be able to see the full picture. And, you can use it for 50-50 decisions when those opportunities come. Obviously, I don't mind Jordan Spieth as a pick this week. Just looking at the stats, obviously he would grade out a little bit better. We do worry about his total accuracy. That's going to be a worry with him, which is also a stat that's available for you guys on this page. That's really the worry with Jordan Spieth. But after that, I do really like Charley Hoffman here. Charley Hoffman, just For the price point, it does feel really good to get Charley Hoffman at this price point. Once again, going back to it, guys, he did withdraw the Farmers and American Insurance because he was injured. And then he missed a cut the Waste Management Phoenix Open. We take out those events where he was injured. Dude has been electric. Dude has been pretty elite, actually. This feels like a great price point for him. For a guy that was in contention at the Corrales, he easily could have won that tournament, had a bad Sunday, was unfortunate there, but still was a good pick. Obviously has good course history, a second, a 64th, a 40th, and a first. So when he's kind of not really had it together, he was at least able to make the cut. Obviously, we know the strategy with PGA DFS is get 6 for 6 across the cut line. You know, he could be a little bit better of a stat fit. His effective total driving, 82nd. That's okay. Ball striking, 56. Effective greens gain, only right around 50. Overall, not going to be a bad stat fit for you guys. I still think he's going to be a quality play. Top 20 stat fit as a whole there for Charley Hoffman. And then we're going to go a little bit lower down to Brendan Steele. Brendan Steele, I think, is going to be a quality play as well. The worry about Brendan Steele this week is that we're paying up for Brendan Steele this week. You know, top 3 in the model, and that does make a lot of sense. We look at his course history rank, 3 straight made cuts with the top 15 finish in there and a top 30 finish. You guys know, for me, for a guy to be checking all the boxes, they need to have at least made 3 straight cuts at a course or at the event, recent form-wise, and then they also need to be a top 30 stat fit. With, you know, recent form and course history, I want to see at least a top 30 finish over their last 3 starts. We see that with Brendan Steele. Top 30 finish in 2020, also the top 15 finish in 2016. I like that a lot. We look at his recent form, been very solid. He's made 7 straight cuts in a row, top 16 stat fit. The only worry with him is his scoring before the cut. On the year, that hasn't been that good. That would be the worry with Brendan Steele, and the fact that we're going to be paying up for him at that price point. And then really from there, I don't feel the need to push it. You know, I do feel like this would be the week that Tony Finau would finally win one when everyone's overlooking him. I actually don't mind Hideki. I feel like he's going to be able to grind out and make cut here as well. Really, after struggling down the stretch, might be a natural reset for him. Now let's move down into the mid-tier price point plays. Once again, the mid-tier is going to be that $8K price point range, which for a majority of you should be where your builds are coming from. That's where the majority of my builds come from. So starting off, we got Cebu Kim there. I don't really like that price point for Cebu Kim. Lanto Griffin, I don't mind at that price point. But for me, guys, Chris Kirk, why? Why not just go back to the well with Chris Kirk? So mixed results here, guys. We kind of know the story in 2019/2020, what was going on there. Kind of just scratched that one off, and then we see that we'd have like 2 out of 3 made cuts here, with 2 of those being top 15 finishes. Overall, he's going to be a top 15 stat fit. He's made his last 4 cuts in a row. And if you look at his recent form, really only 1 missed cut at the Waste Management Phoenix Open. I already touched on kind of the thought process behind him as he was checking all the boxes that week, but I was kind of worried about him that week as well. Stated those reasons as well. Don't want to go over that again. I really like Chris Kirk at this price point because to me, he's going to be a guy that's going to be able to figure out a way to make the cut here once again. He's one of those smart players, and this is, of course, where you have to play smart. Same thing with Zach Johnson here. Zach Johnson, you know, scoring before the cut, that's great. He's made 13 straight cuts in a row. Okay course history, made cut, top 5, missed cut, and then a top 30 finish. We do like that. Once again, 13 straight made cuts in a row, top 24 stat fit as well. Could be a little bit better, but that's not bad at all there for him. Keegan Bradley, I don't mind, but Adam Hadwin, I'm going to go back to the well with. Adam Hadwin's one of those guys where he's not going to be popping stat fit wise, and really not. Let me pull this back up. He's not really going to be popping that much on the specialist page here as well, guys, just because his game has been a little bit too hit or miss, but we'll pull him up here, see what he's been able to do over the past 3 months here. There he is. Don't even have to search for him. He's right there. Got it sorted alphabetically there for you guys. So overall, we can see that he has been getting a little bit better. Strokes gain total has been improving. Strokes gain tee to green has been improving. Where he's been poor is strokes gain around the green and strokes gain off the tee. That's not really a huge factor at this tournament. Strokes gain putting, been better at that. We do like to see that. Effective greens gain, that could be a little bit better. We wish that was better. But overall, it's nice to see that he's improving. That's kind of the whole point of this sheet here, is to see that he's improving. And let's just look over the last, 6 weeks here. See how much he's been improving there. So overall, getting better there as well. We'll look at his strokes gain total just completely, 41. That's good. Average finish of 42nd. So still not bad there. Adam Hadwin kind of checking the boxes there. it's just more of a gut play there, if you will. After that, I don't really want to force it with anyone else. I don't mind Sam Burns. He's going to be a good stat fit. Once again, going back to the specialist page, we'll pull him up here over the last 5 weeks. He hasn't been as good. And this is a guy where, Jordan Spieth and Adam Hadwin were trending upwards. I would imagine that Sam Burns is going to be trending downwards. We can see, let's just take the filter off there. Yeah, we can see everything's been going down except for strokes gained around the green and strokes gained putting. Everything else has been getting worse. He could bounce back, and I could see that happening. I'm just a little bit worried about him as a pick this week at that price point range. All right, so now we're going to move down into the low tier here, guys. Low tier is a decent price point range this week. Going to be some good quality plays. I feel like a majority of our builds are going to be made in this price point range this week, in that 7K price point range. So let's just go down. I hate that Andrew Putnam is popping. I kind of do. 36th finish here in 2019. In 2018, he had an 8th place finish. Before the Players, he had been playing great golf. A 4th, a 5th, a 32nd, a 55th, a 7th, a 21st, and a 37th place finish. 7.6, that is going to be a lot to pay up for him. I'm not saying that we have to do that, but I actually don't mind him at that price point. Could be, something about that is sticking out to me. And then we go into John Huss. So one of the 9-to-5 players, kind of for a while here. 2 straight make cuts in a row. You take out the Waste Management Phoenix Open miscut. Pretty solid performances there. We see 1, 2, 3, 4 finishes of top 25 or better at this price point. We'll absolutely take that. That's going to be great. He's made 2 out of 3 cuts here with a top 25 finish there as well. He actually grades out as a top 10 stat fit. 7.4 is going to be a great price point for John Ha. I feel pretty good about him as a pick there at that price point range. Now we move on into Sam Ryder, guys. Sam Ryder, decent pick overall. Top 24 in recent form. That's with that second at the Corrales. Actually almost chipped in to put some real good pressure on the leaders there. Almost did. And if you look at some of the other players that played well last week, Joel Dahman, Matt Kuchar, those guys are priced up. Sam Ryder played just as good, and he has been playing, relatively good. His game has been, a little bit hit or miss, a little bit too much hit or miss there. And he's another one where we can pull up on this page and kind of see, has he been getting better recently over the past 3 months? Let's see here. Yeah, he's been getting better over the past 3 months. That is something that we want to see. Still not great stats there. 78th rank and strokes gained total. That's still not that good, but it is nice to see that he has been improving. Don't mind him as a pick this week at that price point range. And as you guys can see, not really going to be that many core plays for us this week because that's just the week that we have. You can't force it. You never want to force something in, and that's just really the week that we have. Chase Seaford is another pick that I really don't mind this week. No course history, but you look at his recent form, has been solid. Yes, 2 of those events were alternative field events, but he still played well. Top 20 last week at the Corrales after kind of struggling in round 1. Nice to see him bounce back. 3rd at the Honda Classic, which we all know is a more difficult course. Nice to see that he played well there. Puerto Rico Open, top 20. Then he also had a top 20 at the American Express. Going back to this as well, guys. Chase Seaford, we can see those 2 courses, the American Express and the Honda Classic, those are more difficult courses, and he absolutely went out and played well at those 2 courses. Nice to see that he did that. Very solid as a whole there. We could also pull in some other courses like that if we wanted to just look at those harder courses. We could do that, but overall, Chase Seaford is a solid pick this week at his price point. Then moving down, there's just not that much that I love completely. There's nothing that you should go out of your way to play, but there's really just a ton of lineup fillers here in this price point range. Patton Kizzire, I do like as a pick. Other than his miscut at the Honda Classic, he had been playing well. Top 25 stat fit. No course history. That's the worry with him, but still not going to be a bad pick for you at that price point. And then Gary Woodland, do want to mention him just real quick. Some people are going to be on him. They thought he found some form. What was it? At the American Express. That looks more or less just like an outlier performance there for him. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I'm just not seeing it with him this week for Gary Woodland there. All right, now we're going to move on into the value tier. Very solid tier. Here we go. Give it a second. That is one thing I worried about with the new setup here. The internet connection might not be as perfect as before. Yeah, we can start off with Nate Lashley. I actually don't mind him as a pick. Missed the cut in his first attempt here. Season long, his stats are going to be horrible as well. And once again, going back to this is why I have this tool, because someone like Nate Lashley, he has been playing better recently, has been making cuts recently. So we can see, let's just pull him up. Much better over the past 3 months. We can see all of his stats kind of grayed out as someone that should make the cut. Top 55, that means he's going to be right around, 50% of the field. But favoring him there at that price point, given the fact that he's a value play, that kind of looks like he could be able to go out and make the cut. You can see his stats here. Very much improved when we look at the specialist page. That is something that we do like to see out of Nate Lashley. Kevin Chappell, he's a guy that I could see, finding some form here. Obviously has great course history, 30th, 1st, and a 4th place finish. Coming off of that good finish at the Honda Classic, top 13. There's nothing really to hang your hat on other than the fact that he's a guy that has good course history and was coming off of a good finish there. Jim Furyk, I don't mind. Once again, he's going to be top 5 in the model. Just missed the cut at the Honda Classic. Missed the cut on the number. On 17, he had about a 5-foot birdie putt that he had just missed. And we can kind of pull him up here to kind of see what happened with Jim Furyk at the Honda Classic. Obviously, it's a course that does play a little bit more tough, but he's a guy where if he's in control of his golf ball, we're going to like him as a pick. So we can see strokes gained total kind of play better than people that made the cut. And they just didn't play as well. Strokes gained tee to green, didn't do well there. That's a lot due to strokes gained off the tee. He lost. Strokes gained putting, top 5 there. Was just making a lot of bogeys. That was the difference for Jim Furyk. I want to see effective greens gained and effective drives gained, just to kind of see, and maybe just his total accuracy, just get the full picture of what was going on with Jim Furyk there. So yeah, he wasn't that accurate that week. That was his worst week in terms of accuracy thus far this season compared to the field. Greens gain was still right around relative, and then effective drives gain. So he just wasn't that accurate. And that's a good sign to me that, he just kind of had an off week in terms of accuracy and still almost made the cut. That's a good sign for someone like Jim Furyk for like a value play. And once again, in terms of a value play, yes, we want them to make the cut, but as long as they're right around the cut line, that does mean that we were looking at the right things. Roger Sloan is a guy that's been playing pretty well recently. You look at it, 3 straight top 25 finishes, top 25 stat. But once again, if we were going to pull him up on the specialist page, he'd be popping a lot more as well. Top 40 in the model. That's not going to be horrible. Wish it was a little bit better, but I don't mind him as a pick. And then just looking at who else ranks out well in the model, not that many in terms of value plays. And I think that's a sign of what we should do in terms of making our roster construction. We can do a really solid pair and balance build this week, and I think that's going to be the path that we should go. But that's all I have for you guys for this core plays video. Once again, a little bit different setup. I know I didn't go over like the course history and stat fits and recent form fits here. Wanted to make the video a little bit faster. It turned out to be pretty long. Gave you guys a lot of information there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a like and subscribe. If you want to join 95 Nation, click the link in the description below. All right, thanks guys. And as always, let's keep cashing.